What's up fellow hunters, Nox here, welcome or welcome back. Today we have part 2 of the Ultimate Starter Builds Guide for Sunbreak. This will cover Hammer, Hunting Horn, Glaive, and Gunlance. Don't forget to check out part 1 if you missed that. Let's get right into it. We're gonna start with the hammer, and we're using the Mighty Pronged Hammer here. It has 240 attack, natural wide sharpness, a level 3 slot, and a level 3 rampage slot. In those slots we are using a tenderizer jewel, and in the rampage slot an anti-dragon jewel. For the armor, we're using the Yukumu Sky Kasa with a tenderizer jewel, the Ingot Mail X with a tenderizer and a grinder jewel, the Velociprey braces with a critical and a brace jewel, the Hermitar Coil with 2 critical jewels, and the Ingot Greaves X with 2 grinder jewels. For the Talisman, we are actually using the exact same one we used for the Sword and Shield, which is a Wirebug Whisperer level 3 with a level 3 slot. Again, don't let that scare you away, it can easily be replaced with Wirebug Whisperer level 1 and 2 level 2 slots. And as you can see, we have an Expert jewel in here, meaning we can always drop that if we need an extra slot. When we take a look at the skills, and you might have already realized that from the armor parts, this is the exact same setup we ran for the Sword and Shield. Simply because both weapons share similarities in that they do not need any specific skills to go with them. We have, again, 90% affinity on weak spot, attack boost level 4, we have full critical boost, speed sharpening, Wirebug Whisperer, some stun resistance, and even some extra handicraft and evade window, etc. as bonus. Now the great thing here again is the speed sharpening and the Wirebug Whisperer. Speed sharpening works really well with hammers in general. Since they do not use up too much sharpness, we can totally get away just using that and not adding any other sharpness modifiers or management skills. And the Wirebug Whisperer goes along great with hammer as well, because it allows us to take full advantage of those versatile Silkbind moves. Now we move on to the Hunting Horn, and here we're using the Kimura Warrior Flute, which is actually a really good starter horn in my opinion. We have 240 attack, really good blue sharpness, we have a level 4 and a level 1 slot. We have defense up, attack up, and health recovery song, which is just very solid. Now in those slots we have a hard friendship jewel 3 and a drain jewel. For the armor we're using the Ingot Helm X with a hard satiated and a steadfast jewel, the Ingot Mail X with a critical and steadfast jewel, the Velociprey braces with a critical and a brace jewel, the Kimura Legacy Obi with an attack jewel and a sonorous jewel, and the Hunter Greaves X with a tenderizer jewel. For the Talisman, I'm using a Wirebug Whisperer level 2 with 2 level 2 slots. As already addressed previously, this actually isn't that rare, even though it does look really beefy. And if you do need it, you can always just use a Talisman with Wirebug Whisperer level 1 and 2 level 2 slots. That will easily get you everything you need. You can just drop 1 level of attack boost or drop some critical if you like. So for the skills, the reason why we're going for attack boost over critical is because Hunting Horns have a bunch of moves that cannot crit. All the moves that have sound waves can't crit. So it makes more sense going for the attack boost, especially early on where we can't max both things. So definitely go for attack boost over critical when you're using a Hunting Horn. This is actually a really fun setup because we have, for one, stun resistance, so we obviously don't get stunned. We have max stamina thief, which goes really well with Hunting Horns. They have huge exhaust damage. We have wide range level 3, which is cool, so we can heal our teammates even more. And we have free meal also at level 3, which means that all the stuff we're using, like potions and might seeds, etc., they might not get used up at all, which is especially cool if we're healing our teammates all the time, so we might not be using as much of our stuff. And also, of course, for max potions and other things, that is really good. And also, of course, Wirebug Whisperer, again for a similar reason as we had it on the Sword and Shield and the Hammer, just because it is really good for this weapon type. The Hunting Horn has a bunch of moves that deal big damage, and also moves that help you either reposition or buff up yourself and your teammates even more. And we of course have the Horn Maestro, which comes from the Sonorous Jewel, which is a must-have on the Hunting Horn. Next in line is the Glaive, and here we're using the Riel du Green. It has 260 attack, 21 paralysis, and 3 level 1 slots with a level 9 Kinsect boost on it. Now, a lot of you already know that I really like paralysis weapons, and especially on an Glaive, in my opinion, it's really good because it is a pretty fast hitting weapon. Now, There are a bunch of good insect glaives, so same as for some of the other weapons, just use something else with this if you do prefer so. Now, in the weapon slots, we have 2 Steadfast and Satiated Jewel, as well as 1 Spirit Bird Jewel in the Rampage slot. For the armor, we're using the Yukumu Sky Kasa with a critical jewel, the Ingot Mail X with a critical and a brace jewel, the Velociprey Braces with a critical and a grinder jewel, the Izuchi Coil X with 2 grinder jewels, and the Hunter Greave X with a tenderizer jewel. For the Talisman, I'm using a Weakness Exploit level 2 with a 3 and a 1 slot on it. Again, if you do only have 2 level 2 slots, simply drop the Expert Jewel that's in the Talisman and you'll be completely fine. We have Max Critical Eye, level 4 attack boost, Max Crit Boost, Max Weakness Exploit, Stun Resistance, Speed Sharpening, with a bunch of stuff maxed out. We also have some Windproof, some free meal, which is always nice to have because not using up potions, especially max potions, can come in really clutch and just help out in Master Rank a lot. And aside from that, we of course have a bunch of bonuses once again. Like, for one here, Constitution actually works really well on insect glaives. Level 1 doesn't do that much, but it's still nice to have as it will reduce the stamina consumption on all our aerial, dancing and ground moves. And of course we have some evade window, flinch free and recovery up also just as bonus skills. Now we have the Gunlance, and there is pretty much only one thing to say. Use whatever Gunlance you want until you can upgrade the Rathian Gunlance, because it just beats everything else by a long shot at the start. We have 250 attack, good natural white sharpness, we have 31 poison so it works against anything, and we have a level 1 rampage slot with level 6 shelling, which nothing else has at the start. Now for the armor, we're using the Yukumu Sky Kasa with the tenderizer jewel, the Ingot Mail X with the critical and a grinder jewel, the Renault Plus Braces X with an artillery and a magazine jewel, the Hermitar Coil with 2 critical jewels, and the Orangjatin Greaves with a sharp and a grinder jewel. For the Talisman, I'm again using my beefy Evade Extender level 2 with Divine Blessing 3 and 2 level 2 slots. But again here, the only essential thing really is having some form of Evade Extender to be able to maneuver and just move around properly. So if you have an Evade Extender level 1 or 2 with 2 level 2 slots, that would be perfect. Otherwise, an Evade Extender level 2 with 1 level 2 slot will work as well. For the skills, we want to go for as many affinity-based skills as we can to increase the damage on our physical hits, because attack boost actually has no influence at all on our shelling damage, which is a shame, but since that is the way it is, we do want to go for critical over attack boost. Then we have Protective Polish to of course keep our sharpness at white for a full 90 seconds. We have Artillery, which is the best damage increasing skills for Gunlances of course. We have Divine Blessing from the Talisman. We have Load Shells to increase the actual number of shells at our disposal. We have some extra Quick Sheath in here, which is actually pretty nice because Gunlance has a lengthy sheathing animation, so putting the weapon away faster can just be very beneficial. Evade Extender from the Talisman, which again, very important on Gunlances to be able to move around properly and just repositioning, etc. If you actually prefer having guard with your Gunlance builds, then you can exchange the Hermitar Coil for the Baroth Coil, which will end up giving you 3 levels of guard, which is the sweet spot for it, and it's just a very efficient armor piece for our guard, so keep that in mind. The Baroth Coil is a good side option. Aside from that, we just have a bunch of other bonus skills. Let me know how you guys like this video format, and stay tuned for plenty more Sunbreak content. Thanks for watching, take it easy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.